Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Maps and Graps. I am your host, as always, Lyric Swinton. I haven't been able to do this show in a while, and so I'm really excited that we were able to find the time. Lots of time zones reworking. We have obviously my favorite guest and yours back. Charlie is back on the show. We're talking all things
Hello.
Forbidden Door. You know what I just thought about? Forbidden Door
What's that?
was the first place that we met in person. That was the first that was the first spot that we met in person.
Oh shit! It
Yeah,
was.
right? It just thought about it because, like, I was just thinking of because we were in different spots for what was
Yeah,
it? Yeah, that's so crazy.
yeah. Because you were in the UK the week that
You're
I was in San Francisco for
Revolution,
Revolution.
yeah. So that's so interesting. So
Crazy.
this is my favorite time of year. I will say, like, I know
Mhm.
everybody has their big thing that they get excited for. This and obviously probably Wrestle Kingdom Week. My most exciting time of the year. It feels like all of my worlds colliding. And so I think Forbidden Door is a lot different this year.
Mm.
Um, what are your thoughts currently on the concept of Forbidden Door? I feel like it's evolved a lot past, the original first two shows. I think we're definitely more in a versus rather than a collaborative show this year. And I think
Yeah.
also we have a lot more new promotions coming to the dance. Stardom and
Mhm.
CMLL have been making such a big impact already in this build so far. So yeah, what are your initial thoughts on Forbidden Door?
I think this year the build has been handled so much better because they're not just rushing to put together a card in like 3 weeks. They're actually having talent come in like across it feels like it's been like a 2 month period. Like the
Yeah,
CMLL stuff's been going on since like February or
yeah,
whatever. So it's been like they're actually like doing a better job of like integrating the other companies onto like AEW TV and highlighting talent that may not necessarily get a chance to like have a big spot on Forbidden Door. So I really like that aspect of it. Some of the cards so far doesn't feel like they're utilizing like on the women's side. It's perfect. I think they've done
yes,
an
absolutely.
incredible job with that. On the men's side, it's not feeling as Forbidden Doorish as previous years to me so far, but we'll get into it. We'll see like what other things they might add. But right now, I'm just like, damn, this isn't quite the card I was imagining. But
I
here we
think
are.
that, I think one, I feel like they're trying to make the show a lot more, how do I say it? Native to like the actual respective products, in the sense
Hmm.
of things that make sense. It doesn't feel like it's just like, some glorified house show. And I do understand it in that aspect, but I do think that what makes Forbidden Door so special is that dream match component, like those like doing things that have never been done before.
Yeah.
And I think on the men's side, we haven't quite seen that. But who would have thought that women would be carrying Forbidden Door? Like, who would have thought?
Indeed.
As somebody who's watched the first two shows, was there last year. Like, I think that, especially with people getting up during the women's match, I think that like this year's whole new territory. I think the women's matches are the best built on the
Yeah.
card currently right now. With loads of history, loads of backstory. So it's been interesting. And also, I think that, they've done a really good job of introducing CMLL. And I think also New Japan is a bit of a question mark this year of just where do they fit in. I do think we're going to probably find out more in the next couple of days. Now that, there's a break between Dominion and the Soul Tour.
Yeah.
So lots of interesting stuff there. Yeah, it is getting a little weird, I will say, but we'll just go ahead and get into the card. So the first match announced is a match that I think a lot of people still have a lot of opinions on, which is the AEW World Title match. And so I would like to say before you even get into the match is I love that they used the Forbidden Door Casino Gauntlet for this. Like that is the
Same.
greatest match type maybe ever for
Yeah.
like Rumble. Sarah, great idea. Like just fantastic concept. It's
So
my new favorite.
inspired.
It's so inspired, and like that Forbidden Door Gauntlet match was honestly one of the best TV matches of this year.
Yeah.
I would easily say. And so I want them to keep doing that. Honestly, you can build a whole pay-per-view around it. I don't care. And to be quite honest, in my opinion, I think that next year they're going to have to rework Double or Nothing anyway, because I think that they're probably going to have to move from Vegas. And I think that this could be a really great concept to build the show around, like that tentpole. Just like, you have maybe you open the show with the Casino Gauntlet and then you close with Anarchy in the Arena, just like, hey, tradition's tradition. I'm here for it. I think that the whole concept was fast. And the names that came out were literally fantastic.
I was losing my shit.
Like Mystico, Leo Rush, Shota Umino, like it actually exactly like it actually felt like this big deal. And so I'm a huge fan of the Casino Gauntlet. But the person who won was, I don't think a lot of people were expecting this, which was Will Ospreay, who's been
he is 2 for 2 in these gauntlet matches.
I think, listen, I didn't know that. I knew that AEW was going to have him come in like undefeated for a long time, but I didn't know like they were going to have him be like undefeated. Like everything that he touches, he's going to win. Like not just not get pinned. Like no, like everything that he's a part of, he's going to win. I mean, hey, like he's certainly believable. I mean, like it's certainly believable. But yes, he is 2 for 2 in these casino matches. And he is now the number 1 contender to the AEW World Championship. And so I think that there's a lot of feelings on this, but these are mine. Obviously, we all want to see the match. Like, I don't think that that's a question for anybody. Everybody wants to see Swerve versus Ospreay at one point. It's going to be incredible. These two are the 2 biggest stars in the company right now. Everybody wants to see the match. However, going into Forbidden Door, I just don't know, guys. I'm not sure why is Billy Goat challenging for a whole nother championship before his first defense of the one he has. That's more so my thing of just, I understand. I feel like I understand the story that they're trying to tell now. I think I get it. I just don't know why we couldn't have like made the international championship a priority first. Especially because out of all the belts that need to be defended on Forbidden Door, even more so than the world titles, that belt should probably be defended.
That is the belt.
That's the point.
It is quite literally the point of the belt. Is like, it's this like international belt. Like, why are we not having more international title matches on these pay-per-views that are like an international spectacle? Because like you're having people from other companies be involved. Like this is like the best opportunity to make this belt, and like it being on Ospreay already makes it feel more important. You've got an opportunity here to do an incredible matchup, and don't get me wrong, everyone wants to see Swerve versus Ospreay. You said that, but you're tying up 2 AEW belts, and one of them is a belt that would have been like the perfect catalyst for a matchup on this pay-per-view. I don't know. Breaks my brain a little bit. And my whole thing with this is that they probably just didn't want people to think that it's the All-In main event anymore, because of that is the big thing. That's the thing that's been going around online forever now. It's like, oh, Swerve Ospreay is obviously going to be the main event of All-In, and now they've booked it Forbidden Door, and people are just like, oh shit, like what are they going to do at All-In then? Like, so I don't know. I get why they've done it, if that is why they've done it, but also like, it's not very Forbidden Door. Like, it's not.
I also understand why they did it. I think that, but in my opinion, and I've said this like on our Dynamite book after show, is that I understand that they had to address the Ospreay problem, because like not addressing him being, just being even a potential contender for the world title before All In, like it's literally impossible. But I think that putting the international title on him at Double or Nothing should have been enough. Like, I think that should have been enough signal that, okay, separate directions. Like, I think that Ospreay is amazing. I don't think that we should rush into putting him in the Wembley event. He hasn't even been on the roster. That would make month 6. I think it's not just about like being amazing. I think it's about actually forging legitimate relationships with the roster to like don't just throw the match out there. Like, why is it happening? Like, that is a big moment. Like Ospreay in the main event of Wembley, that's a huge moment that you build to for a very long time. And it's just that right now, like that type of time just does not exist. And I think that also Ospreay, there's so many other stuff I think that he could do and explore I just don't see where the rush was. I don't know. Like I get it, and I think a lot of that was AEW playing into Twitter, which is a whole nother, which is a whole nother
Oh,
kind
another issue.
but I also I think that he's gonna wrestle twice. I have a feeling that he's gonna wrestle twice at Forbidden Door.
Do you think so?
I do. I think so. I think he wrestle
That'd
twice.
be interesting.
I don't do I think it's a great idea? No. But I think that he's gonna wrestle twice. I think my personal currently I think the story is that Osprey is going to bite off more than he can chew. He's going to take on an international because he's been defending the belt so much recently in recent weeks. It makes me think some challenger is coming. Maybe it's going to be Daniel Garcia, right? Who says that he's going to, which is also kind of stupid in my opinion. Like I know, like they want. He's from New York, which is great. Wait, no, it's not. I don't think it's going to be him because they have a Buffalo show coming up. So if he has that defense, then it's probably going to be in the Dynamite before Forbidden Door because I forgot that's in Buffalo. But I think that he's going to have some opponent, right? And I think he's going to do that, and he's going to say, "I can do both. I'm going to become the first man, bruv, to defend both to win that championship and hold both championships, bruv."
Oh my god!
I think that's what I think he's going to do. He's going to get an injury because, like he's already been like showing like signs of wear and tear. He's going to get an injury, and that's going to how he's going to be protected in the loss against Swerve. I think that's my current theory. I think he's going to try to wrestle twice. He's going to be like, I Forbidden Door, bruv.
Nothing would surprise me. Like it genuinely would not surprise me. I'm trying to think who's he got unfinished business with in New Japan. That could be like, well, Billy. Give me like a shot at that international belt. Like, trying to think.
Honestly, Shota Umino doesn't have anything to do. I think Shota Umino doesn't have anything to do, and also he was in the Forbidden Door Casino Gauntlet match. I think that he could be a believable, or hey, well, no, Shingo already has a belt. I was about to say Osprey versus Shingo being revealed to American audiences, I think that would be kind of beautiful. I'm not gonna lie.
But Shingo 2 belts, like come on, bro. Like he has a belt, but come on, man. Osprey has a belt and he's wrestling for the AEW World Title. Like this don't matter.
I completely agree, and so I think that there's a lot of different options, but I do think I'm starting to believe I think he wrestles twice. Like I think he's gonna.
You've got me convinced on this.
He's gonna fucking do it. I think he's gonna do it. Especially like if you've been watching his matches lately, it's been a lot of like attacking, his limbs and things, especially like his hidden blade arm and his shoulder when going for Stormbreaker, like his shoulder, the same shoulder that was injured last year. So I think that they're going to exploit the shoulder. I think Swerve and think about Swerve's offense, right? Like of just the cattle mutilation, and like he's going to exploit, he's going to exploit it. And so I think that's how they protect him.
It's going to be real interesting seeing who the crowd chooses during that match. Because like they are the top 2 baby faces in AEW right now.
And here's the thing: I think the Swerve discourse only exists online because like he's only becoming more popular by the week.
Yes,
the live crowds, and especially with Prince Nana back, like he's unstoppable. And I think also since they stopped trying to push him as like this super like white meat baby face, and he's just like he's like this now. He's a cool guy who occasionally does bad things, but we just let it go. I think ever since that, I think he's just been like on a upward trajectory. And I think Osprey, I think that's also the thing with Osprey too, of just before I want to see him main event All In, he has proven he is the best wrestler in the world easily. He's proven like he has amazing matchups. He's proved that he's great on the mic. He has not yet proven that he can carry a feud. Like an actual legit rivalry in AEW. We haven't seen it. Listen, even Swerve hasn't had like that real big rivalry to sink his teeth into since at least
I would say the Hangman rivalry was that.
No,
That was the catalyst for everything.
I was going to say since winning the title, like
right, okay,
of course, but like he has that experience though, especially from the Hangman rivalry, to say like, okay, he can be in that type of rivalry that like grabs the company by the balls and like steers like all the discourse, right? And we haven't seen that from Ospreay yet, and I think like obviously it's not going to be this one because three to 4 weeks is just not enough time to like build that once in a lifetime type rivalry. You know, like it's just not quite there yet. So that's my current thing. I feel like the crowd is going to be split, but I also think like Forbidden Door is just such a great time of just I don't think anybody, unless somebody does like something like super dastardly in the middle, I don't think anybody like gets like booed or buried in the sense. I think everybody's just happy to be there. Like, you know?
Yeah, like even like last year, Ospreay versus Omega, like the crowd were booing Ospreay throughout the entire match. But the minute like that bell rang and he won the belt, everyone was on their feet and like applauding.
Standing ovation, like legitimate standing ovation. And I think like, you know, I feel like sometimes I think it's a sometimes I think it's a hindrance to get like super like married to the heel versus face dynamics of just sometimes it just really doesn't matter. And I think like this is one of those times like I don't think it really matters. And so it's interesting, but I think that what it will do is it'll potentially keep Ospreay out of the Owen Hart Cup. We'll see. And I do think him getting a shot now is like the only realistic way of him not being in that tournament. So that's currently, I think, one of the main events because I think like it's going to be a double main event. The IWGP title match will be the
Such
other.
a cop out. I hate this gimmick.
It depends on. Okay, I'm not like 100% anti main event. The double main event, triple main event, and this is how. Like, if we find out in enough advance I think that it's interesting to figure out which match will go last, right? Like, I think that if you already know, like, one match in particular is going to main event and, like, they're adding in all these matches that you know, like, have no chance of possibly going last, like, then I get really annoyed. But I think if there's, like, a legitimate debate of, like, okay, we don't actually know which of these matches are going last. Like, for example, like, last year's Forbidden Door, right? Like, I don't think anybody knew who was actually going last. You know, they pretty equally advertise, okay, we have Danielson Okada, we have Ospreay Omega. These are our main events. Like, essentially, we don't know what, and I don't think we knew which one was going last. And so I think, like,
I don't know. No, because I remember when they threw up the graphic to the Ospreay Omega match, we were just like, oh shit, this is now.
Like, exactly. Like, we were like, oh my gosh, like, this is now. So I'm fine with it. Truly, on like even like, you know, Wrestle Kingdom at this point has like the domestic main event and they have the international main event. Like, I'm fine with it if it actually feels like it's a legit conversation to see who goes last. But like, if you already know who's going to go last and like you're just like doing this for fan service, like, then that's when I get legitimately pissed off. When it comes to this case, I'm not sure. Like, I'm actually not sure. I personally would put the IWGP championship last, and I think it's because, like, I think that New Japan needs that good faith. Like, I think that they need that moment. Like, I think that New Japan specifically needs that moment. Like, Ospreay versus Swerve. Like, at the end of the day, both of these people work here. You know, like, both of these people work here. Both of them have titles. They're gonna have titles afterwards. Like, I think that New Japan needs that closing moment, standing tall at the end of to close the show. Personally. And also I don't know. I think that the women have there's a legitimate case for one of those matches getting main event billing. I think that
I agree.
If not both, but like especially I think that Toni Storm has been, I don't want to say a background player, but I think because she's been incredible, but I think that in the span of the women's division, as everybody has gotten better and everybody's advanced, I don't think she's been in that conversation for like, this needs to main event, this needs to be top billing throughout her reign. And I feel like this is the first time where it feels like, oh no, like this is actually one of the hottest stories on the company. It has to be big, like it has to be huge. So. I digress. That's Swerve versus Osprey. We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Next, I think that's a good segue into the AEW Women's World Championship match. This one has been this has been built out since
Mania
WrestleMania.
weekend.
Yeah, WrestleMania weekend. And it's been built out really well. As a Stardom, especially a Mina Shirakawa fan, I don't think I could be any possibly happier than I am right now. This has been amazing. This has been vindicating for me. I tried to tell people. I remember several of you on Twitter told me, Mina's not a star. She's only going to go so far. They're not going to push her. Man doesn't see her as, it doesn't matter what he wants now. It doesn't matter what he wants. This is the Queen of Bushiroad, bitch. Yeah. Yeah. This is the face of Bushiroad, bitch. Yeah. I hate to get like that, but yeah. They called me
incredible.
They called me
They did.
They called me they said it would never happen. Okay. Like, I knew that this was going to be fire starting from that Stardom American Dream show. Like, it's one thing to send a video, but when Tony showed up like herself, I was like,
she walked out, yeah.
And I think that that's just the power of, I think AEW is now in that, since there's a clear power differential with them and other companies now. And I think like showing that type of good faith of actually sending your talent in person I think like it's just a big deal. I think we all knew like this was going to be really important from that moment. And so I think that they built the story beautifully, great storyline beats as far as like, there's a very legitimate history here. Toni Storm is the best, I would say, most consistent week to week promo on television right now of just nailing her stuff every time. And she's gotten better in the ring too. Thank you, Azumi.
Yeah.
Ever since that match. So what are your thoughts, heading into the AEW Women's World title match?
I am really excited for this match. I've become quite a bit of a Mina fan over the past couple of months. I'm not someone that's I don't keep it a secret that I'm not locked into Stardom. I don't follow the promotion as much as I probably should. But Mina's really impressed me with everything that I've seen from her. And honestly, it's been one of the most consistently built stories over the past couple of months. So going into this pay-per-view, this is what I mean by it's been so much better this year, the way that they've been integrating talent into the TV to build these stories. But I think that this match is probably going to be people are excited for it, but I still think it's going to be a bit of a sleeper here. I think it's going to be a lot better than people are even anticipating it being, because Toni Storm's really locked back into being a proper wrestler, and I think her and Mina are going to have some special chemistry. And obviously there's the whole Mariah May factor to all of this, so I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be a very good showing for the women, and honestly, I'm just excited that we have not one but two main event caliber women's matches on this pay-per-view. 100%. It is a far cry from what we have seen on Forbidden Door in the previous years, and that's not a knock to the women involved, because if they did what they could with what they had, but it does feel like they've really stepped it up this year.
I mean, having partners is crucial. I think that was just the thing of partnering with New Japan. New Japan is typically a historically male organization. They don't have anything for women, so there was no door to walk through. So now having these partnerships on both sides in Mexico and Japan, with Stardom and CMLL, is huge. And I think also, like you said, I do think that this is a sleeper match. And I think it's because they've been killing the character work so much. And I think people are expecting the drama, but I don't think they are really understanding of how good the wrestling is going to be. I think this past Rampage, Serena Deeb versus Mina Shirakawa, people were like, holy shit, this match is great. I think it was one of the best women's matches on Rampage. And also, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was ended up being the longest women's match in Rampage history. Which is, one says a lot for somebody who doesn't even work here. But it really was great. And I think people don't understand. Mina's a really good wrestler. She's really honed her craft. She went to the drawing board. She got injured a few, that was 2022 now. jaw injury. She came back the second coming of Tanahashi. I'm not joking. Like that's she was the girl who everybody was saying she can't wrestle. She's just a pretty face. She went in the lab and came out a superstar. And like my first time watching Stardom was actually her return, which was the birth of Club Venus. So like I've been following the journey for quite a while now. And so it's just really cool to see like her and Mariah and even Tony. Like I mean, just compared to where she was a few years ago, who would have thought that Tony Storm would be like who she is now? Like I was there at her AEW debut, and she is completely changed her career. So I'm excited, and I think that Tony specifically, especially like Mercedes being added to the division, and a lot of girls coming up, I think that she probably has a chip on her shoulder, and like wanting to remind people like, no, she is the world champion for a reason. And I think that this stretch from now up until All In, we could be looking at something completely game changing for women's wrestling. Like I think that this run between her, Mariah, what we're about to witness, I think is something insane. And I think also AEW, credit to them for they really committed to that Timeless Tony character from day one. And we haven't seen a lot of that in the women's division of like actually committing and following through, but they've really committed to Toni Storm's success ever since that character change. Like she has been at the forefront clearly of the division. And so exciting stuff. It's a blast. Moving on to the other women's match on the card, we have the CEO, Mercedes Moné, the TBS champion, going up against in a very, very, very highly anticipated rematch that we weren't sure that we would ever see again versus Stephanie Vicaire for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. And so this is title for title. So whoever comes out is going to be on their way to becoming a belt collector. Well, I mean, Stephanie Vicaire is already a belt collector.
She is a belt collector,
She already is. But I think that we are, how do I say it? Like, this match feels very different from the other match because it seems like we're entering like that territory that we've seen it with men. I think we've seen it with like people like Kenny. We've seen it with people like Ospreay, like those real world beaters who travel everywhere, beat everybody, win all the titles. But to see it on the women's side, like this is really like the Clash of the Titans, like real heavy hitters, like the biggest, as big as it gets. Like this is a legitimate dream match. Like I know they've wrestled before, but this is like I can't even comprehend. I think that's also like right now, like I don't even think they have to say too much. Like I think like the match itself just jumps off the page. Like this is insane. Like this is insane.
I am so excited for this match. Like ever since like their first match, Stephanie Vicaire has become like one of my favorite women's wrestlers to watch, and I actually got to see her wrestle live in May at the Fantastica Mania shows that Repro did. She is incredible. Like her presence and the way she captures a room, like even in front of like a bunch of Brit fans that like didn't really know who she was at first, like she is just this like one of the most intense women I've seen in the ring live. And her and Mercedes, we already know they have great chemistry, and that was like in like the first round match of a tournament. This is title versus title. Like they're gonna up the stakes for this, and like Mercedes is getting back in her groove, and she's looked great the last couple of weeks that she's been wrestling again. So I am stupidly excited for this match at Forbidden Door, and I think it's probably going to be the best match of the night. Like, I genuinely think they're going to blow everyone else out of the water.
I think also, too, of just, it's like that chip on her shoulder. Like, Mercedes is very clearly, like, even in the matches that she's taking leading into this match of just taking the match versus, I think, Zoix's, this week on Dynamite of, she wants to be in that conversation. Like the way that people talk about like the Omegas of the world, the way that people talk about, she wants to be seen as that person who has gone to every territory and conquered. And if anybody's going to do it, it's her. I mean, if anybody's going to do it, it's her.
I am curious because I think that Mercedes is probably going to win here. I think that she's probably going to come out of this with both belts. But Stephanie Vakir is going to be at the Rev Pro 12th anniversary show, which is the day before All In.
It is.
So I'm and I think she's facing Danny Luna. I have no idea if that's been confirmed, but I think I think Danny Luna called the shot to face Stephanie there. Danny Luna's women's world champion.
She's incredible.
So she is, yeah, that match is going to be killer. I can't wait for that. If that is what they end up going with. But a little part of me wonders, like, is that going to play in? Like, is Stephanie going to win the Rev Pro Women's World Championship? And is Mercedes going to be like, well, I'm going to take another belt from you?
I think I think that these two have the potential to like wrestle all over the stars. Like, I think that right now, like, both women have just been, I think more so, like, less so Mercedes, but I think that we're going to see her start popping up everywhere of just, they're clearly on like this international journey to like take over the world. And I think if we look back at that tournament from last year, that New Japan Strong Women's Tournament, we're going to talk about how that one was very foundational.
That was a catalyst for these women's careers.
For women's wrestling and like worldwide. If you look at how people have come out of it, I mean, Momo Kogo is the exception. She's also been dealing with like a couple injuries and things of that nature off and on. But between Willow Nightingale and Stephanie Vakir, I think that there's an argument to be made that they benefited from that tournament so much more than Mercedes. Just like Mercedes, even standing next to so many of these women, it didn't like make them or anything, but it just gave them the platform for everybody else to see how good they were.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly what happened. And like now, Willow's a superstar, I think, and you look at Stephanie of just her international name recognition raises daily. We're going to be talking about that for a long time, and I think that her and Mercedes specifically, they could really be rivals for the rest of their careers. Believe me.
Yeah, they really unlocked something special between them, I think, and they should wrestle in the UK. They should wrestle in Mexico. They should wrestle in Japan. Let them wrestle everywhere because that is a special matchup, and I think that every single match would be different.
Absolutely, and I think that. I don't think that I've said this before. I know we've seen Mercedes wrestle for like the better part of, the last decade. I don't think anybody knows how good she is yet. I don't think any of us know just how good she is, how far she can go, what she can do. Like, she has not even scratched the surface of what she's capable of yet. And what I do appreciate about is since Double or Nothing is very clear, like, I didn't know how like AEW was going to book her. Like, I was like, are they going to book her like an attraction, or are they going to like actually book her as a part of the roster? Because I think like those are two different things. Because I was just like, if she's going to be booked like, has one match a month, or I respectfully, I don't want to see that. Like, we've waited so long. Like, I want to see her in the ring just about every other week at that point. And so it looks like they're doing that. And this looks like she wants to get in the ring with just about everybody. This is going to be crazy. Like, this is a true aura off. Like, this is a true.
Yeah. I think the Mercedes Alex Windsor match is like inevitable at this point.
Absolutely, 100%.
Like, I'm curious to see where it gets booked because of like Mercedes having a New Japan Strong Women's belt. I imagine it will probably be on like a Capital Collision or something like that. So there is so much potential for both Mercedes and Stephanie, like coming off the back of this match and just like everything like that's gone on in the past year. So women's wrestling, bro, we really won.
No, women's wrestling truly, like, these last couple of weeks, don't get me wrong, I think that I've been, especially if you've been watching this division for a long time, there's always been like some things to like, but like I think we're finally at that point to where no, this is actually some of the best stuff in the company easily. Like by a landslide, like people being just invested in the characters, the women. And I also think of just, I've always wanted to see like that dream match type feeling being applied to the women's division because I think like it's there. There's so many like first time matches or even like highly like anticipated rematches left to play. Like you have these partners, you have people who can come over here, like they're do it. Like I don't know, just fucking do it. There's no excuse now, and also like I think announcing this match at this early as well as the Tony Mina match, I think that is a very good sign as far as priorities for the company of just these are the tent poles of okay, these are the dream matches, truly. Like these are really the dream matches. So super exciting stuff from the women's division. Also, do you think anything else gets added? Because there's been a lot of obviously there's been there's a lot with Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale came to a head on especially Collision. I have my dream personally. It may not happen. I'm okay with that, but my dream is I would like a tag match. I want Chris Statlander and Thekla versus Willow and Tam Nakano. That is
wow.
Yeah. And let me explain. I'm going to explain my reasoning. So Thekla, ever since she came back, she's been calling herself the idol killer. So she says, Mina, Tam, Naspoy, all the girls from the idol world, she wants them gone. All the smiley kawaii girls, she wants them dead. Like she wants them gone. She's tired of it. She's like, Mina's been going everywhere and everybody loves her pretty face and she's going to break it. And like, she wants basically anybody like from that Cosmic Angels type world, she wants them going. And then, Willow just faced Tam. They're like, Tam Nakano is like the queen of the kawaii, cutest ever like gimmick. Like she is idol culture. Her and Willow teaming up makes complete sense. They're the same type of baby face. And so Thekla is a true hater, especially ever since she joined Wado Tai. But she's also been looking to dip her feet in like the international waters and travel everywhere. So I think it's a pairing that makes sense personally. They might run the mixed tag there, even though I wish that they did. Well, no, they can't. They can't because they just announced Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy, so they do the mixed tag at Forbidden Door. So that's what I want. And I think that Willow, with all that she's done, she has been the Forbidden Door for AEW in the sense of going to Stardom, New Japan, CMLL, especially over the past year or so. She needs to be on that Forbidden Door card. So that's
I agree.
That's what I want.
Yeah. The only thing with that is, when does the Owen Hart Cup tournament start?
I think it starts like right after Forbidden Door.
Right, okay, because I know Stats in that, so that would have
so Willow has also entered her name, like she entered like right after the commercial break.
Right, okay, interesting. But that's not a factor, so it doesn't matter. That could be a really cool tag match. I would be excited for that. I imagine that would be something they would probably do on the pre-show, but even then, like, that's still like a class women's match to add to the show. Like, I would not be sad about that at all.
And also,
I don't know what else they could add in terms of the women.
Yeah, because it looks like Tony and Deonna, they're having like their last. I think they're having their last match.
Thunder and Deonna,
the Thunder and Deonna, they're having their last match. I think this upcoming weekend for Collision first anniversary, and it's no DQ. So I think that's probably
the fact that is a year old is mind blowing. First of all,
Collision like
a whole year.
I can't believe how much I hated that show in the first 2 months, and then it's just now it's like
we were at the second ever Collision taping.
We were, and now it's like it's genuinely one of my favorite shows every week. Like it's genuinely like for a real pure wrestling fan. Like
we were at the formation at Bullet Club Gold. That's when it happened.
It's like when I say, especially like now.
Looking back at that card is crazy because that was also Swerve versus Tanahashi.
Yes, correct.
Oh my god!
It was like Naito popped up in a Jericho segment. Like because
Naito teamed with Sting and Darby, and like they were like teasing who would be in the whole crowd, were just chanting Naito, and Darby was just like, "Well, you got it."
I think. Listen, this is also why currently I have nothing booked for Forbidden Door. I want to say that, but I am considering doing nefarious things. Like I just I have my FOMO is getting so bad of just Forbidden Door is one show. Like I just don't know if I can miss in good faith. I don't know. Like it's just it's my jam. Like that's if any other show is booked for me, like that show is booked for me. I do hate they're not doing a collision before though. Like also, this is side note. What is it with AEW recently, like not doing like collisions the night before pay-per-views anymore? Like that happened during Revolution. We didn't have anything to do. Like for days.
I went out and got drunk instead, but
I mean, there was literally nothing else.
There was nothing, and it was in fucking North Carolina, of all places, in Greensboro. There was nothing. Like we went to round one, like we went to the arcade.
We were in arcades and Waffle House. Like guys, there was no.
Arcades and Waffle House. That sums up every American experience I've ever.
Well, yes. I just think, like, you know, me personally, I think what I've enjoyed about AEW is just like when I go on a wrestling trip, I can go see multiple things, like either an indie show, we hit a collision, live rampage, whatever.
When I went to San Francisco for Revolution, I did like 2 indie shows, I did 2 tapings for Dynamite and Rampage, and the pay-per-view. Like, that was a week. I went to 5 shows.
And I think that Forbidden Door is one of those nights to where those weekends where everybody should be building stuff around this. Like I don't know, I don't know what the New York Indies are doing, but like I said, I'm ready to commit some nefarious activities to get there. I don't know how yet, but stay tuned. Watch this space.
Watch this space. You'll see us both. Don't even doubt it. Like we will be there.
Yes, like watch the space, guys. And also, we have currently a AEW TNT ladder match. Obviously, Adam Copeland has been. Well, we don't know everybody yet. So Adam Copeland was injured at Double or Nothing. After I will never understand why he tried to land on his feet coming down from that cage. But I love you, man. I don't know. Like I will say, I have so much respect for him. Like I have so much respect for him. Like he really. Everybody doubted him. I just would like to say everybody doubted Adam Copeland. Is he really willing to die for this? Is he willing to die for this? Is he willing to change the game? Is he willing to commit and be for the sickos? And the answer is yes. He's
a little bit too much.
That's a little bit too much. Like he's worse than Sting in the sense of just jumping. Like, please, but no, get well soon, man. I would just like to say my first real favorite wrestler.
Please come to All In just so I can hear wrestling.
We have to
stadium. You don't gotta wrestle or nothing. You can just come out and do a lap, then leave, and I'll be happy.
You know, I was thinking about your theory, and you were just like, when you said that the Young Bucks versus Christian and Adam Copeland should be the All In plan. And it probably was, who knows? But you know, I think that whatever Christian Cage is in, I think that Adam Copeland should come out and make the save. I don't know who's going to beat on him, who's going to down, but we need that moment. I'm sorry, like we need that. I need it. I need it more than I need air. My God, I thought I had nailed absolutely everything about that match prediction, and I probably did. But Adam Copeland, bro, you are 50. I think you were right.
Things. I think I was right as well.
Right. Yeah, I think that you're right, honestly. And so it's just one of those things that
it's not Forbidden Door season without an injury. Let's be real. Like,
you know what? I thought that too. I hate to say it, it's been a little quiet around here recently.
It's been a little bit quiet.
It's been a little quiet around here recently.
Touch wood, no one else. Please God, dear God,
nobody else. Like seriously, nobody else. Knocking on wood.
I've hit my quota.
And no, I'm fed up, guys. Like, and especially like, Hangman still isn't on TV yet. I just can't. I can't fucking do it. Nobody else can go. I almost hate that they gave us Kenny Omega back for like a week. Because
I know. It drives me nuts.
Nothing is ever, I think that's why I haven't been so hard on wrestling recently, at least as far as like getting super upset about it, is because if Hangman and Kenny are not on TV, I already like accept that there's only but so much I can enjoy this. Like there's already like a level of how much fun I can have. Like, not saying that everything else can't be good or great or whatever, but especially like for AEW specifically for a show like this, I need it. Like even last year, you obviously Kenny and Ospreay had that incredible match, but like that 10-man tag was
bro, that match. I don't think I sat down the entire match. I was on my feet. I think I cried after that because I was just so overwhelmed.
You literally sat there in silence like this.
The way I handled my emotions for wrestling, I literally went silent for like 5 minutes.
I think that's the coolest thing in the wrestling match. Like people who really go to shows know, like, you know, like some matches are so good that they make you like just scream and jump on your feet. But some matches are just so good that you just sit there in silence and just like, I can't believe I'm here right now. I'm just so happy to be here. I think, like, you know, just sitting in a match, I think that's the vibe that Forbidden Door gets me, of just more, I just want to really sit back and be like, I'm just so happy to be here. And so, like, Hangman not being on this card, it hurts, guys. I'm not going to lie to you.
Hangman, you have 3 weeks to come back.
Yeah,
make
like,
it happen. I miss you dearly.
I need him back. Like, even if he's not on Forbidden Door, I need him back, like, first Dynamite afterwards. Like, no joke.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I've been going back.
It's about time, cowboy.
I've been going back through the Swerve Hangman feud, and
I rewatched the Texas Death Match yesterday.
I've been going back, like, not even just through the matches, but like the opening, like the promos and everything, of just, they've really nailed every part. Like, and I understand, I don't think anything else can top this. Like, I think that's why, like, nothing gets better than that, of just, and even like the Revolution match. I feel like the Revolution match isn't talked about enough. I think the Revolution match isn't talked about enough because, guys, that was incredible. Like, that was the storytelling of, like, Hangman losing his mind and then assaulting referees. Like,
and people think this man is going to come back a babyface still. They're just like, oh, he's been off TV for a couple of months. He's going to come back a good guy again. No, he's going to kill Bryan Danielson in the final of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. That is what's going to happen.
I keep telling people, guys, I think that Hangman really is a good person outside of his hate for Swerve, but I don't think y'all realize how strong that hate is. Like, it is real. It has consumed him.
It has consumed him, yes. He is overcome by his hatred for Swerve, that he is going to stop at nothing to get his hands on him. And if that means he has to murder Bryan Danielson on live TV, that's what he's got to do, bro. I don't know what to tell you. So I am set on Bryan Danielson and Hangman being the final of the Owen Hart Cup tournament.
I agree. I have a question. So my thing is, I feel like I really can't lose. And this is why. Because, one, we can get Swerve versus Hangman 4 at Wembley, I think, is the best call. And I think a call that makes sense, of just, at the end of the day, this is what everybody comes back to. Even when Max's title reign was a shitter and every all this other stuff, that feud kept so many people invested in AEW. Like, that was it.
It was the highlight of TV for a long time.
And we still talk about it. Like, I think Abu made a tweet the other day, was just like, what has been the best feud in AEW this year? It's still Hangman and Swerve, in my opinion. Except unless you want to go like Young Bucks versus Sting, because that was
pretty, that was peak TV, to be fair.
The Bucks have been incredible this year. But I think that it's a great call. But, you know, on the other hand, if Bryan Danielson decides to stop being selfish and go to Wembley, like, who can argue with that? And also, I will say, like, from a ticket sales perspective, I think that, you know, tickets are going to move. I mean, if Bryan Danielson, this is his last big hoorah as a in Wembley Stadium, like, it's already, I think, even with him facing off, even if he faces Nigel, I think you already get some aspect of that. But, like, in the main event, like, dude, what?
Bro, as long as he makes it to Wembley, I will be happy.
Oh my gosh,
like,
absolutely.
Put that man in a fucking solitary confinement until the pay-per-view. I am tired of him.
That reminds me of when what was it, when Zack Sabre Jr. Heading into wrestled him. He said, "Is he even going to make it?"
Yeah.
Put him on a bubble.
Oh,
Like Brian Danielson was making it to these matches with half a forearm, a black eye, you know.
Him coming back the week after All In will never not drive me fucking insane. I understand why it happened that way, but anyways, we have gone far off the beaten path with what we're meant to be talking about. There's a TNT ladder match on Forbidden Door, right?
There's a TNT ladder match on Forbidden Door. So far, 2 people have qualified. We have Konosuke Takeshita and Mark Briscoe. So I would like to see probably on the Soul Tour, or unless somebody just pops up for Dynamite for some qualifying matches, which could happen. I think that's probably a very likely scenario. I think we're going to see some names from New Japan. If you could have, or maybe CMLL as well. So if you could have 1 or 2 folks in this ladder match, who do you pick? I have 2 picks, but I'll wait for you to answer.
I'm so biased. Like, people know what my answers are going to be, I think. I would put Despy in this.
Really?
I would put Despy in this. I think it could be so, like, it's like he does so well in like the deathmatch scene when he like branches into stuff like that. Absolutely. So putting him in a ladder match with people like Mark Briscoe and Konosuke Takeshita, there's some real stuff to that. But I think this might actually be the spot that Shota Umino ends up in, because it's very, very likely that Jack Perry is also in this match, and they have history.
Yeah, so that was announced on Collision. Jack Perry and Dustin Rhodes will have a qualifier match on Dynamite, so he's essentially in that. But so my picks personally from New Japan that I would love to see this match, and could probably be a little bit more likely now ever since they kind of teased God breaking up last night. I want El Phantasmo.
Yes, I love you so much.
El Phantasmo. And after his performance in Best of the Super Juniors this year, I think Kevin Knight should be in this match. Like,
Kevin Knight's a really good show, yeah.
A spot fest in this ladder match. I think that Kevin Knight should be in this match 100%.
Bro, put one of the War Dogs in. I don't care which one.
So you know
War Dog in this match. What the fuck are the War Dogs doing at this pay-per-view?
Thank you for saying that. So I'm actually interested. I think that we haven't heard any direction, even like last night at Dominion, no War Dog involvement. I said outside of Clark and Drilla, nobody. Gabe was in Noah. I think Finley's still on paternity leave. So I actually have no idea what's happening with the War Dogs right now, especially because, like I said, Gabe is really tied up right now with what he's been doing in Noah and like Kaito Kiyomiya. But after next weekend, that really kind of comes to a halt. So, you know, obviously they've been heating up on the AEW side. They've been heating up Bullet Club Gold. So I think maybe this is the year that they run that. Just because, like, I haven't heard anything, like literally anything, especially with Dominion last night, there being like very little Bullet Club presence. Especially War Dog presence. So who knows? But I would like to see it. Don't get me wrong, but I have no idea what they're doing.
Me neither, man. And like the people in Bullet Club these days, like people will say what they want about David Finlay. I have beaten that horse to death. I'm not getting into that debate with someone again. But like Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, and I can't call him Driller, I can't commit to that. Dan Maloney have done so much in the past 12 months that they've been under like the Bullet Club banner, and they've been so impressive with everything that they do. And like not only like have they been doing stuff in New Japan, they've been taking bookings like in the American indies. Like Gabe and Dan have done stuff in the UK still. Like they've been well beaters when it comes to this sort of stuff. They are perfect for Forbidden Door. So like, even if you're not gonna put them on like a main spot on the card, give them something. Like even last year, United Empire got a spot on like the pre-show. Do that with the boys. Like have them do like a 6-man tag against someone, even if it's not the Bang Bang Gang. Like, there are plenty of people you could put them up against, and it could be a really cool matchup. Like, Gabe Kidd calls out everyone and their mother. They could set up a match so fucking easily. Like, I don't know, bro. It drives me absolutely insane that, like, Gabe Kidd has called out probably more of the AEW roster than that probably knows that he actually exists. Like, he's been shouting from the rooftops to get a match on this fucking card, bro. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Like, they're the most consistent part of, I think, the New Japan product right now, especially on the foreigner side of.
Yeah, even Dan Maloney's been talking about it mad on Instagram recently. He's been like, the War Dogs are here, bro. Like,
it would feel odd to not have them on. Like, I think it would feel really odd for them to not be on. So I think that that's a possibility now, especially with Juice Robinson being back. I think an 8-man tag, maybe 8-man elimination. I think it could. And I think also, who knows? Like, we haven't seen David Finlay in a while. Maybe this starts the pre-G1 breakdown of communication between him and Gabe. You know, the signs have been there for a minute. And it could give Jay White a really, really, really needed win. And so, I agree. I asked myself that last night watching Dominion. I was like, where the fuck are the War Dogs? Like, but you know, hey, like, everybody has like stuff going on right now. So
indeed.
But that's the TNT match. Maybe they'll add in a luchador.
I was about to say, do we reckon anyone from CMLL?
You know, hey, my thoughts here will be, I would put Teton in this match.
Yeah, he was at the Ring of Honor tapings for Collision, I think. So not bad out at all.
He's in LIJ.
How many people are going to be in this ladder match? Have they said?
No, but I would guess
6
5 or 6. Yeah,
probably. So it's probably going to end up being like, I would guess, like 3 AEW guys, potentially 2 New Japan guys, and a CMLL guy. That's how I would do it.
That's what I think too. I agree. And so
they're gonna throw some random fucking curveball of a talent in here, and it's gonna be funny as hell. I don't know who the curveball's gonna be, but it's gonna be really fucking funny. And if it's evil, I swear to God, I will throw something.
I will shoot myself. Can
you imagine?
I will shoot myself on camera.
I'm going to change the trajectory of everyone's life.
I will. You will. I want Tony Khan to suffer for his crime. Tony Khan and Gato. Yeah. This is really up to him. Yeah. I want you guys to suffer for your crimes. I want you, every time you see my face, just know you ruined me. Because what the fuck was that? But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you know what? Maybe if they don't put evil in there, they might put Rita Narita in there for some House of Torture young guy representation.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying that I like it, but I'm just saying, like, especially,
hey man, Jack Barry's gonna be in there. He's another guy that's got history with him. They were in the same stable for a minute.
And if you see, like, you know, they'll team up mid-match, and like, you know, I will say from a storyline perspective, it definitely makes sense. I think also, well, no, I don't think he would be in this match, but it would be great if he was. Kosei Fujita.
Oh, baby girl. Oh, man. I am such a Kosei Fujita fan, bro. He's so good.
He's so good. Like, I think that would be really great.
Yeah.
So that's the TNT title match. We still don't know much about it, but whatever. Like I said last night on Collision, Zack Sabre Jr. Challenged Orange Cassidy. This match will be good, but it's not what I wanted. I'm not going to lie to you.
Thank God. Oh, thank God. I thought I was going to be the low person on this.
No. Yeah, it will be good, but it's not what I wanted.
Is that what I wanted either? I don't know what I wanted Zack to do, but this wasn't quite it.
But you know what? Hey, they said Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy in the first Forbidden Door was not what anybody wanted, and it ended up being the best match of the night, and obviously it ended up being my match of the year. So that year, so hey, I will say I think that Orange Cassidy needs that. He needs that signature performance to really feel like he's like that. And if he's going to get it from anybody, he's going to get it from Zack Sabre Jr.
Indeed.
But this is not what I wanted. Like, you know, I'm going to be honest. Like you said, I don't really know what I wanted from Zack. I I actually, I did if they were going to, because I do think that there's still a third match with Bryan Danielson that they wanted to do because they haven't.
Yeah.
Neither of them have submitted yet, and so I thought like maybe they do this as a submission match, or a 2 out of 3 fall submission match or something like that. Who knows? But I don't know.
I think it'll be really good, and
I think it would be really good.
I think I don't know, man. I love OC, but he has been so involved in everything recently that I'm like, come on, man. Like, let's take a day off. Like, I don't know, but I'm not looking forward to the match per se, but I will enjoy it when it happens.
Yes,
so I can't really complain.
I
But when it comes to Bryan Danielson on this pay-per-view, brother, it is the year of the dragon. If you are not facing Shingo Takagi, what are you doing?
That's what
it is the year of the dragon.
Exactly. Thank you for saying that. Because I think, and if anybody watched Dominion, Shingo versus Nari ended in a double KO.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that match doesn't end in a double KO unless you specifically need to keep both of them strong and you need Shingo to be champion at Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that, listen, I think that Shingo has a big singles match at Forbidden Door. And like you said, it's the year of the dragon.
It's just so perfect. And I wanted it to be Hangman versus Shingo at this pay-per-view. It doesn't look like we're getting that match yet. So
we needed that. We need that. And I'm never gonna.
We need that. And I will scratch and claw and fight tooth and nail until it happens. I don't give a fuck where it happens. Book it in a
post
car
G1
park for all I care.
Post G1, if they don't have anything for Shingo, and I think he's even talked about this himself a bit.
Yeah, doing like a couple of weeks of an excursion. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he needs to do. I need a month in AEW. I just need a month.
Yes. Yeah, bro. Literally, just like choose a month that has a pay-per-view in, which is like every single month for AEW at this point. Let's be real. Like October, throw him on, have a match at Wrestle Dream. Bish bash bash, bro.
I also think too, just like, hey, if Shingo Takagi, if you feel like being in the Continental Classic, I just want you to know I will keep.
Amen.
I will keep a spot warm.
Amen.
I will keep a spot warm for you, Shingo Takagi. Because I just think Shingo and the CC, yeah, man,
that'll be different.
I need that.
Special.
So I'll finish this card and then we can talk about who doesn't have matches yet. But then we have the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. I will say this: I am a big House of Torture hater. I am a hater. I don't pretend to be otherwise. However, that match at Dominion was the most enjoyable House of Torture match I've ever seen.
Really? I haven't seen it yet.
It was camp. It actually was pretty enjoyable. I'm not gonna lie. I can't believe the words are coming out of my mouth. Jon Moxley is a miracle worker, and I will say a lot of people have been trying to write off his reign. Don't get me wrong, he's been given the shitters of the roster. He has been given the true shitters of the roster. But what he was able to pull out of this match, whatever he's being paid is not enough.
Yeah. I don't doubt it in the slightest.
But afterwards, he's the first person to actually win a match versus House of Torture and not look like a complete goof afterwards. He still came out looking strong, which was great. And then Naito comes out. And so challenged him for a rematch at Forbidden Door. I think a lot of us figured that we would get here. I'm excited. I'm actually really excited for this match because one, I was in Chicago when Knox won the championship, which was great. And I think it was Naito's best match since last year's G1 final.
Yeah.
But I think that this one is going to be even better. I think he wins the championship again, but
so do I.
Yeah, Mox, what he's done for, I don't think he just doesn't get the credit he deserves. I can go on a Jon Moxley, rant for the longest. He's one of my favorites. That's no secret. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm actually really excited for this match. I'm probably more excited for this rematch than I was the first one, just because I didn't know which Naito was going to show up to work. I'm not gonna lie, that first time, but I was really excited. It was the good one when it happened. So, but also I will say, Shota Umino was interesting. Like his eyes during the entire pre-match, post-match, especially after the post-match of just, I don't know. Like I think, like obviously, I think Naito wins, but I think he could potentially turn.
Do you
Like
reckon? Ooh.
I think he could. I think Shota could potentially turn. Like
he does need something to take him to the next level, whether it be changing up his gear, a new finisher that's his own, or a heel turn. I don't know, man. Could be interesting.
And maybe he's not going full heel. He's just going anti-Mox, and he's going to convince himself,
I mean, if you're anti-Mox, you're basically a heel, really.
Well, yes, correct. But I think that maybe he's going to go like the route of just, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for New Japan. Like I'm standing up for the company of just like for me to be the new ace. Like there's a lot of different, I think, ways that you can take it.
Yeah.
But yeah, his eyes were interesting because it's like they were walking up the ramp last night at Dominion. And so Shota was walking behind him and had a barbed wire bat in his hand, like from earlier in the match. But it's like every time Mox turned his head like forward, it's just like I was like, is he gonna hit him in the back? Like
yeah.
I literally was holding my breath right until like they went behind the curtain. So could be nothing. His face could just be like that, Who knows?
Yeah, he could just look like that, but this is wrestling.
I think it could be like I think that's a very interesting. I think it's interesting. I think especially because Shota just wrestled Mox, and lost, and then had to be one of his lumberjacks with the match, and like everybody else, they're just the old guys happy to be there. You got like Nagata, Tiger Mask, but he was. It's just interesting. It's interesting. Like I said, something to keep out for. But yeah,
indeed.
So that's the current lineup. Like we talked a little bit about some people who don't have matches, like Willow and Chris. But I think that
Brian and Shingo.
Brian, I think that the biggest ones, we already talked about Brian and Shingo. I think that they should wrestle each other. But I think the biggest ones currently is, what are the Elite doing?
What, bro? After they have got back-to-back like show stealing matches at Forbidden Door, what are they doing? And it's especially interesting because obviously now they've got Okada in their corner.
Okada has been hilariously quiet. Quiet.
Just like we are creeping closer and closer to the pay-per-view with your old promotion. You ain't said shit about it, brother. Like what goes on in that brain of yours?
He doesn't respect them. I think it's interesting. I don't know, like that it could get into like actually there were some questions. Someone, I think this is actually a really good time to get into questions now. So we have questions on here that some of you submitted on Twitter. So the one question is, what do you think Tsuji and Shota will do after Door 3?
Wow, I picked Shota for the ladder match.
Okay.
Tsuji, wow. I think in my fantasy booking that I did like 6 months ago, I think I had him against Swerve. Obviously, that's not happening now, so
if
he'll probably end up in a multi-man, realistically.
If Kazu is
if he's on the card,
I think he has to be on the card. I think like if he doesn't, I think for who he's being pushed as in New Japan, if he's not on the card, it feels like he's not a priority. I feel like he has to be, especially like with Naito being on the card. Like I think he has to be. Listen, I will say, if Kazu is feeling generous, this is the match that I think that Okada should have at Forbidden Door. I think that it should be Okada versus Yota Tsuji. If he's finally ready.
Would they do another singles match though? They've already got like 2 women's singles matches and like at least 2 men's singles matches. I don't know how many more singles matches they would add.
My thing is, I think that for Okada, especially when you think about last year's those 4 matches, those 2 matches that were basically anchoring the pay-per-view. I think that if you have any of those 4 men available, I think they need to be in singles matches. Now, Osprey just happens to be versus Swerve, which is a whole nother conversation. But like same thing with like Bryan Danielson. I think that I think he should have, especially with this is his last Forbidden Door, like for who knows. I think he should be, but I think Okada, especially, I think Okada not being in a singles match is kind of wow. He is like so, I think he's just such a main character to both companies right now, of just him not being in the singles match feels weird. Like it just feels
But
weird.
it feels par for the course with his character in AEW,
yes.
though.
No, don't get me wrong. Like I said, do I think that he actually accepts this? No. Like I don't think I don't think he does not respect anybody under 35. Okay, it's okay. But I do think that if he was willing, I think that that's the match that they should go with, because I think that Tsuji should lose. I think that he should lose.
Yeah.
Because like the thing is, none of them have ever even faced really Okada. They just never, not even wins or losses. Like they've never even had the experience, and so I think that Yota Tsuji could benefit from the match. But if he's not in that, especially with him now having the 6-man belts, you know, maybe they have him go up against Bullet Club Gold. You know, maybe they have like the 6-man champions versus each other. Who knows? Like versus trios, and then maybe they'll have like another trio in there to take a pin or something. Who knows? But I think that Yota Tsuji has to be on the card. I think that Shota is involved regardless, just with Mox being in the world title match. Like he's involved regardless. His face is going to be shown whether he's in an actual match or not. But
yeah,
Tsuji has to get out there.
Could you imagine, like, if like the Elite be like, oh, we'll go against like 3 of the best that New Japan have to offer? Could you imagine like a super team of like Yota Tsuji, Shota Umino, and Kosei Fujita? Just 3 men that were wronged by Okada, and the Bucks are just kind of there.
Oh, I would love that. I think that also, like, even if the Elite did like a trios match, even though I don't know, like Bucks versus TMDK kind of pops me. I don't know, like
it does pop me. Like if they do like a 4-team tag match or something like that. I don't know what other teams you would throw in there, but like TMDK, Bucks.
TMDK, Bucks. Who else?
I do not know any other team. They've been
probably a team from CMLL, and maybe I'm trying to think of who's another team that could listen. Oh, I do have this. I do have.
Oh, this. What the fuck is Yoshihashi's and Goto's tag name? I forget. Bishamon, yeah.
So I do have this theory. So if anybody's been noticing these last couple weeks, obviously Samoa Joe, Hook, and Shibata are becoming a team, and that's the thing. But we haven't actually seen Shibata. Now the logistical reason for this is probably because he's just in Japan, but. Like if the vignette that they did yesterday, so Shibata was technically behind the camera recording and like had like his like his Google Translator
voice, yeah.
I think that the reason my personal delusions lead me to believe that he's not being shown on camera because he's not going to be with them for Forbidden Door. Like I think that Shibata is going to be his own thing as Forbidden Door. Now I think like in a perfect world, I think that this will be the great time to finally run the Gabe Kidd singles match, because I think that still needs to be a priority. And if it doesn't happen now, I think it might happen at Rev Pro 12th anniversary. I think it might happen.
Stop! I'll cry.
I think that Dave Garcia and Shibata would be perfect for Forbidden Door. I think this is the perfect place for them to team up. And so, like, if they're doing like a 4-way match, I think that this is the perfect time for that team. I think that Daniel Garcia should be on this card. I think Shibata should be on this card. I think this is the perfect way to get them on this card. And so I do think that obviously he goes back to the Samoa Joe and Hook stuff as soon as Forbidden Door pay-per-view cycle is over. But I think that this works. I think they should team up. So
that could be a lot of fun.
But I'm interested though, especially with, like I said, I'll just take Bucks versus TMDK if that's fine. With anybody, it's just so many belts involved. That's also the problem of just like there's so many belts. Somebody has to lose. and we don't need the Bucks holding New Japan titles that they won't defend. As funny as that would be,
it would be quite ironic after how much shit FTR got for not defending those belts.
Absolutely, and they're literally like, I will say, it would be freaking hilarious. Don't get me wrong. We just don't need that happening. Like, we just the discourse alone, I don't want to wade through it. But yeah, so Bucks and Okada, I think, are big question marks of where do they fit into Forbidden Door. I hate having to talk about him, but here we are. Max.
No.
I think Max and Roosh get added to this card.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's quite inevitable that they end up adding to this card, which is another thing I have an issue with, because why are we doing 2 AEW centric matches on this card? Anyways.
And building
just because it's in fucking Long Island, I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't give a fuck if it's in Max's hometown.
And building Roosh as this foreign invader gimmick, so Max can have a homecoming moment. Like, seriously, I don't know. I spent 2.5 hours on Wednesday night pissed on that after show. Guys, I don't.
At least Roosh can wrestle on Forbidden Door now.
Yeah,
that is my main takeaway.
Growth. So yeah, that's where we are. Another question: what do you think we see Shingo versus Danielson at Forbidden Door 3? I hope so, and I will tell you
that's my pitch. If
it gets announced, several things of my possessions will get sold to get to not fucking, like, I will say Shingo versus they had me when I saw like the graphics even pop out of Mercedes and Stephanie. I was like, okay, Tony Mina, okay. I will say a Shingo Danielson graphic that will move me whether I am ready to move or not. I will tell you that right.
Yep.
Like right now. Yeah. So that's how I feel about it. Do you think there will be more Stardom talent, or is it just going to be Mina? I think that should be. I think it should be. Like I said, I do think like maybe teaming a heel and a face up with Willow and Chris makes a lot of sense. And also, hey, like, Azumi has been really active. I think like her being in the Forbidden Door mix at some point, I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't know where she'd fit in. Maybe that'll be Willow's partner, as a face. So I think like that could have a lot of legs to it. So I just don't know. Honestly, at this point, with adding CMLL and Stardom to the mix, Forbidden Door should be a 2-night event. That's what especially if you're not going to do a collision the night before. I'm like with 4 organizations playing ball. I think
I think especially with 4 organizations playing ball this year, it's even wilder to me that they're doing 2 matches with just purely AEW talent.
Correct. Especially when but it also makes me think that if AEW is being allowed to have so much of their own stuff on this show, makes me think that there's a card in the works currently for them to do a show in Japan. Like, I am more convinced now than ever that AEW will be doing a show in Japan with all their partners, because being able to take up so many matches on the card just with just AEW people makes me think like, okay, like they're going to do something in Japan soon. And
it's either that or this card is going to be 14 matches long.
Here's the thing. I don't hate long cards. And I think it's because, especially with AEW, like increasing the pay-per-view schedule, we've gone from 4 to about 9 or 10 shows a year and still charging full price for all of them. And so guess what? WWE is not on a pay-per-view model. It's a streaming model. And so like, guess what? They can do whatever they want. But if we're all still shelling out like hard cash for pay-per-views, I want everything. Like maybe that's just a me thing. I don't care. Like even when I go to shows in person, I still buy like the replay just because I want everything. Like if I'm traveling, if I'm paying for this, like I want it all. I'll be damned if I like pay full price for a 4-5 match card. I don't.
Yeah.
No. So if it is 14 matches, I will say I might be the only one there, but I'll be there.
I'll be there. To be fair, like a 4-match pre-show and a 10-match card is like very typical for AEW, to be honest.
Absolutely. And I think also too of just Forbidden Doors already, I know this term has been so overused recently. Forbidden Doors for the sickos. It's for hardcore fans. It's for the fans who watch more than one product. It's for the fans who have like, multiple investment in international wrestling. Like this is very much a show for the niche audience anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to get grifters talking anyway. Just who cares? Just go all in. Yeah. Literally. In my opinion. So
indeed.
There's a question. Do you feel like a Survivor Series type match should be added to the Forbidden Door card?
Dear God, no. I hate that concept as a match these days. I am not a fan.
Are they? I'm trying to think. Are they talking more so like elimination? Like just like,
I guess it would be elimination, but like, what are the stakes in this situation? Like,
I would say
what are we fighting for? Company supremacy? Like,
the only place that I could see that happen is if they're doing like a Bullet Club versus Bullet Club Gold. I think the concept works there. Because like there's some actual legit stakes and heat there.
Yeah.
I don't think when I hear Survivor Series, I think the problem is that, typically the Raw or SmackDown, like it just no stakes. Like, where's the heat? Blood feud. I don't know. Or maybe, you do the Elite versus, all the young guys from Japan just trying to get their hands on Okada. Who knows? Like, there has to be actual stakes. I'm not going to say 100% no. I think that there's a few instances where, maybe a 8-man, 10-man eliminator match works. But
not this close to the pay-per-view now, though. They would have had to have started heating this up like 4 weeks ago.
I agree. Another question, just like we said, how long should the card be for Forbidden Door 3? I'm gonna be honest. I think that out of all the shows that you have, aside from maybe All In, I think this is where you go for broke. Honestly, I think it should be if it's good. Like this does not mean that. Oh fuck, we still don't know what Chris Jericho is doing.
No. Nothing. He's doing nothing. He's not going to be on this card. He doesn't need to be on this card. The learning tree does not need to infiltrate CMLL, Stardom, or New Japan Pro Wrestling. Keep Christopher Jericho away from this show.
You know what? Chris Jericho had 5 segments in 3 days last week. No joke. Between Dynamite and Collision. Oh, and Rampage.
What if I just shoot myself?
Yeah, that's what I'm like Wednesday on Dynamite. Like when I say my eye legitimately started twitching to where I was just like, why are you fucking with me? Like why? At this point,
it feels like a bit.
It feels personal. Of just like, I don't know, whatever. So I think the Forbidden Door card should be as long as it should be. I don't know. I'm always
I don't know. Book as many matches as you want. I will watch all of them. I will not complain.
This is my favorite time of the year, so it could go to 5 hours. I'm cool with it. I'm gonna be honest. Everybody else can just cry. They're not gonna buy it anyway. Naito, shirt or no shirt? Listen, I think the shit's coming off, brother. Listen,
I think the shirt's coming off.
Also, Callum Newman and Naito had the first match on Dominion. I
am so proud of Callum Newman and everything he's done since going to Japan. I feel like a prouder older sister, like seeing where he has gone from like what he was doing on Brit Rest even a year ago. Like it's not like he's been in New Japan for like what, a year now or something like that. Maybe longer. I don't know. I lose track. Was he about super strong style last year? I think so. I think it was about this time him and Ospreay started doing stuff together.
Yeah, he came in right around, because I remember it was like right after Best of Super Juniors, before the G1, because Maloney had turned already, and so
yes.
Like, I'm going to bring in a proper young lion, that type.
Yeah, but anyway, Callum Newman, bro. What a
So
wrestler. And he's like 22, 23. I forget
he's
how
so
old he is.
fast. Like he's so fast, but
He's
literally,
so fast. And he's a big boy now. Like he is tall. He has put a
I
muscle
think he
on
might
my
be in the G1 because he was saying that he wasn't in the best of Super Juniors because he wanted to compete as a heavyweight. So he
yeah.
might be in G1. Also, G1 is interesting now just because they've announced the format. So we're
Yeah.
back.
It confused the hell out of me when I saw it. I was
Okay.
like, all right, bro.
So back to 2 blocks, 20
Yeah.
participants, 10-minute each block. So 18 people will be announced next week at all together in Sapporo. But the last 2 spots will be determined by a qualifying tournament, which I think is very interesting. So we don't know who's going to be the last spot in each block. And so who knows? I think it's interesting stuff. But like I was saying, Callum Newman and Naito had a singles match to begin Dominion. Naito had a shirt off in an opening match versus a young. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So I think Naito he might be feeling renewed. He's might be the shirt's coming off. Another question: how much do you think having the international talent like Vicar and Mina participating in this year's Forbidden Door has helped the hype levels for the women's title matches on this year's show?
Oh, we've already talked about this, but like exponentially, like it has done magic for
It
it.
feels like a big deal. Like it actually feels like the women are being involved in the Forbidden Door concept. Like it genuinely feels
and they've
like
been the front runners of it this year.
easily, and it feels like the best in the world are actually clashing. It feels like legitimate, and I think it makes it feel just as legitimate as the men's stuff, if not more so, particularly for this year. So huge thing. And last question: after Forbidden Door 3, what can AEW and New Japan do to keep their companies hot?
Oh God, that is a loaded question because there is 2 different like. Let's go AEW first. The important thing for AEW coming off of the back of Forbidden Door is nailing Blood and Guts and
100%.
building to All In quicker than 3 weeks before the pay-per-view.
Yes.
And having an actually well-built, well-thought-out, important card for Wembley Stadium. Because listen, man, the tides have been turning online. People finally understand where I'm coming from with the AEW All In was a good vibe show, but it was not a good wrestling show. There was good wrestling on it, but that card top to bottom was not a Wembley Stadium caliber show.
The night before was easily a better wrestling show.
Yes.
Easily.
Yes.
So, I think
for AEW, that's what's important to me at least. Like they need to nail like the Blood and Guts stuff and then the build to All In.
Yeah, I think for AEW, I agree on Blood and Guts. And honestly, I think that, especially with the new rules being announced, I think that nailing Blood and Guts in the Owen Hart tournament are the biggest things for AEW on both the women's and the men's side. And I think also realizing, even though I don't think it's going to be that much of a problem, I think it just makes the roster so much more competitive in the sense of, yeah, you have all these male signings, but also people are expecting a very strong women's presence at All In now. And I think that just it's unavoidable in the sense of people are expecting, like, not just Saraya expecting her to get a British pop or whatever. Like, no, people have expectations of what they want to see, who they want to see. I think anything less than three main card matches and 1 0-hour match just doesn't do. Like
You are way more optimistic than me because I think we'll get 2 main card matches. I don't think they'll be 3.
I think you have Tony. I think you have with Mercedes, whatever Mercedes is doing, and I think that you have Willow and Stat, whatever they have going on.
I think they'll run Willow and Stat all out 2 weeks later. I don't think they'll.
I think that they might. I do think that like people want to see her though. I don't know, and maybe they might.
I want to see Willow at All In. Don't get me wrong. I would love to.
They might do a big multi-match, a multi-woman. I think that we could get a multi-woman match. Hey, listen, you know what though? I think would be really great if you don't do Willow Stat, like, as a singles match. I think a big women's street fight at All In would be great. Like those two in a women's street fight. I think it would
That'd
be
be
fit.
sick. That'd
A
be fucking
multi-woman
sick,
street fight at All In. I think that that's very on brand for them. Like I think it's
yeah.
if it's right, and then do the actual singles match at All Out. I think that that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I also think that too of just there's so many people that I feel like you have to nail it with them. Like I think that Takesha needs to be doing something fruitful at All In. I think
Yes.
Daniel Garcia
Daniel
specifically needs to
Garcia, yeah.
be doing something fruitful at All In. I think that Jack Perry needs to be doing something
Yes.
fruitful
What a
at.
full circle moment.
I know. It's just, I think that who else is I feel like has to nail it. And I think a lot of this is just, I think the Bucks, I think we have to like put a nice bow on whatever the Elite have been doing all summer.
Yeah.
Same thing with Okada. You have to do, I think Osprey and Swerve speak for themselves. Hangman as well.
Mm-hmm.
Danielson. And then like that's that we still haven't even gotten into everybody else. Like we haven't even gotten to everybody else. And some of these guys will face off and all. I think it also depends on like, sorry, but
it's also the race against time for Kenny Omega. Will he be back for All In this year?
Oh, listen, I didn't want to be the one to say it, but now that you brought it up, listen, I've been going through rewatching all the Omega Okada matches. Listen, Kenny, please. I don't know if I'm trying to pray for like him to be ready or not be ready. I think I don't want to get my hopes up, but
I don't want to get my hopes up either.
I think he's gonna fucking do it. I don't know. Like I think he might do it.
His line of "give me a couple of months" has like been rattling around my brain for the past like 2 months already. Like, brother, if you are not there, I might cry. I'm gonna cry at this pay-per-view anyways. Let's be real, but bro,
I just wanted to say, like, seriously, I've been honest about this. Of just like the first couple months of this year has not been very kind to me, and I've been going through a tough time. When Kenny Omega said, "Give me a couple months," he single-handedly renewed my lease on life. I'm not joking. Now, I don't know if I should be proud of that or not, but like when I said, okay. I said, I'm gonna hang on. I'm just gonna hang on. I'm just gonna stay here. I'm gonna hang on. We're gonna hang out right here, Kenny, until you get back.
I miss that man so greatly.
Like and then it's a whole different. It's like that's a whole thing. Like if you have, in my opinion, if you have Okada Omegas even on the card, it now becomes like I feel like you start to analyze every other match on the card even more critically. Just I don't want to see Okada Omega on the same card as a fucking learning tree segment. Like it's just everything must be not just good, but excellent. And like I do think like Kenny Omega has literally put himself through hell and back to be back for this. No, we don't have rooms for just happy to be here. Like, woo, like if anybody's just happy to be here, put them in a pre-show battle royal. Let them get like a TBS title match at All In. Oh, that's a good. I will say, imagine if they did like a pre-show battle royal.
Give me the international gauntlet.
Oh my gosh, yes, the gauntlet match. A women's gauntlet. Imagine if Stephanie Vickers in the women's gauntlet match.
Bro, can you imagine genuinely like, and it is like a women's gauntlet match on the pre-show of All In, and you have people like Stephanie and Alex Windsor pull up, like,
and then we can get Oku and the men's match. Like, listen, I'm so fucking sick. Like that would be so sick. But yeah, so I think that would be great. But yes, I just think that everything needs to be excellent. Like, and I think even if not, like I think Okada, I think you'd still put him in a singles match. It has to be something big. Like I think like that's the point of him coming here. I think that's the point of coming. Okada, it was made for big matches like this, like stadium matches. And so good God, I hope Kenny, I will say this is another, like I said, I have nothing booked for All In. I've been telling myself I'm going. I have nothing booked. I have no chance. I have no idea. Kenny Omega is clear. I don't care if I have to swim across the Atlantic Ocean. I will quite literally do whatever it takes. He won't do this without me. You will not. Like y'all will
Real.
not do this without me. Like absolutely not. Like it's just not happening. 100% not. And also even like it's either main event, if it's Swerve versus Hangman 4, I feel like I need to be there. I've been there for I was there for the Wrestle Dream match. I was there for their Full Gear, the Texas Death match, and I was there for their Revolution 3-way match.
Yeah, I've been there for 2 out of 3.
Exactly. I need to be there. But also, like, if it's Swerve versus Danielson, hello, like, I need to be there. Like,
yeah,
I need to be there. So yeah, I will say, like you were saying, AEW specifically, they have to nail the road to All In, but I do believe that they've started planning earlier. I think that it's very clear that they've started to plan earlier. Like I think Max versus Ospreay is the plan.
I agree. Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up, but I think that is the plan.
And here's the thing, I wanted this British Dream match. Like I wanted Ospreay versus Pac.
I wanted Ospreay versus Pac. I wanted the rematch to happen in London.
And I think, even if you wanted to do a 3-way, I honestly, my perfect dream would have been a 3-way. Throw Zack Sabre Jr. in the match for the international title. I think it would have felt huge. And I understand you got to do something with Max, but also listen. Here's the thing, guys. I know nobody wants to hear this. Nobody wants to hear this because MJF is the greatest mic worker ever, and he can never do any wrong, and like nobody's better than him. Whatever. But if Will Ospreay is functioning on the mic the way that he has this year, this might not turn out the way that everybody's expecting. Like I respectfully, and I know like I'm trying not to be like a full hater, but like if Will Ospreay is on the mic half as good as what he's been doing this year so far, just effortlessly, this is not turning out like this whole, Rudy Poo, blah, blah, blah. Like it's not going to work.
Nope.
So I just want everybody to be really prepared. Keep that in the back of your minds. Like, be really prepared. This might not go the way that everyone's expecting.
Indeed.
Yeah. So
when it comes to New Japan, though, my God, I don't even know where to start because I am not caught up with the products. So
so this is how I feel about New Japan. Dominion last night was actually pretty enjoyable. I liked more than I didn't like. I think that they found a good balance. I think that you know who your stars are, you know who matters, you know who gets a reaction out of the people. You have to get behind them. Like my thing is like that, and everybody's like, New Japan doesn't have any main event guys. Yes, they do. Like, Shingo Takagi and Zack Sabre Jr. are right there. The fans love them. These guys have proven that they can carry. But I think that what's happened is New Japan, maybe it's just a Gato thing, has it locked in their head of who they think fans should want. And they're just don't. Like, even me personally, like, I'm not like a big David Finlay hater, but it's very clear that the opportunities and the impact just don't match up. Like they just don't match up. And especially like when I think about that global belt, like that global heavyweight championship, it has not done what it needs to do. It's not going where
who even has that?
I think it's Finlay. But like I said, I don't even think I know. Hold on. Like
last I knew that Nick Nemeth had won it, so I ain't got
no,
Nemeth doing these days.
So it's Finlay. So Finlay has it. So Nemeth lost it. It's one of those things to where at this point, I know that I feel like they don't want to accept defeat, but at this point, you're going to lose more people if you don't just correct course. And I think they did correct course with the Finlay and Nemeth stuff of just putting these titles on just old WWE guys just because they're free. That's stupid. Like, I think like it devalues it. And like, none of the matches were particularly memorable. I mean, Nemeth was obviously cooler than Riddle, but like even so, I wasn't really impressed by anything that I saw. Not as a New Japan match, like it just wasn't. And I think also getting behind like your young guys, like the best of the Super Junior proved that, especially for the junior division, you have to start putting more new faces in the mix. And it seems like they're doing that with the junior tag titles, which is really cool with Robbie and Fujita challenging. But especially like you have guys in your system who've been there for a long time and you haven't really done much with them, especially a singles talent. Like Clark Connors, you have to think Clark Connors was a fill-in for the original Forbidden Door.
Yeah. And he killed it.
He killed it. And there was nothing for him after that. And I even think about like somebody like Kevin Knight, who had a fantastic showing this year, pinned El Desperado. Like it doesn't get, pretty bigger than that. I think on the junior, I think that the junior division has to be just as strong for New Japan to really be prosperous again, and which I think why Dominion having the juniors main event was really powerful. Desperado had people crying. People were literally crying in the crowd. It was really cool. Like, I mean, like
I need to watch it. I'm excited.
He's
That's my baby. El Desperado is one of my favorite wrestlers ever.
I love him. Like, I just love him so much. And like, that was just so satisfying. It was one of those moments to where I was just like, even if the rest of this card was shit, sitting through it just to get to this moment, it was worth it. Like, just because El Desperado means that much to so many people. So I think that the juniors division, I think also in the heavyweight division, how do I say it? Of just, these guys have to get battle tested. I think like we have a lot of good wrestlers. A lot of them don't have intensity, fighting spirit. Like Yuya Uemura has 3 moves. It is actually, if I see another arm drag, I might. I think Ren Narita honestly isn't as bad as he could be right now in House of Torture, which is crazy to think about. But I think also Shota of just figuring out where does he go. I think the G1 is going to be very telling for all of them. And honestly, I think that they should be in other people's tournaments. I think that that's why so many guys, their contemporaries in All Japan and Noah, who are around the same age, are ahead of them because like they're actually more big match tested. Like even if they lose, they're going out and they're having these big matches. Like Yuma Anzai last year going to Noah doing their tournament of, I think Kaito even coming over to the G1 doing this tournament, and now he's on an incredible run this year.
Yeah, I've seen some of his stuff. It's crazy.
Absolutely. And I think it's just getting on that level to where you're seeing and interacting with the top guys in every company. And I think that all together event was really proof of that, of just of who shined. And so I think it's just really investing. I think also making things make sense of, how do I say it? I don't want to see like lemon eating competitions and for the KSW title. Like Shingo Takagi was doing triad matches for that and it rocked. Like I just think, and I know like some people are just like, well, the wrestling part isn't as important right now. Like we just need to get investment in the characters. I understand that. I hear you. But I do think that in-ring quality needs to improve significantly. And I think that New Japan used to be that place to where the wrestling not even isn't just good, it's inspiring. Like it's inspiring to fans, it's inspiring to other wrestlers. Like New Japan used to be truly, honestly, we're the best wrestle, if we wanted, no pun intended. But I think it's one of those things to where you have to get back to that standard of like, between these ropes, this is the best wrestling in the world. Of just, there's been too many opportunities given of matches that ended up being shitters. Like for example, Yota Tsuji versus Yuya Uemura. You're doing a hair versus hair match. Like I'm expecting blood feud. They didn't even leave the ring.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not even like on the outside. Can I get like a little push on the barricade? Like, give me something.
Yeah.
Anything. Like, it's just not. So I don't know. I think New Japan, for them, they have to nail the G1. I think that's their main thing of just they did well with the Best of Super Juniors. You can't go wrong with Desperado winning. But I don't mean to be an alarmist or anything, but like if they don't nail the G1 this year,
and now that it's back down to 20 competitors
I mean,
as well, they need to be the top competitors.
100%.
I don't want to be seeing Chase Owen in this fucking tournament again.
I was just about to say that. Oh my god.
Mariano, stay at home. Like, my god. I get that we need some pin eaters, but newsflash, sometimes a loss can help a character. Like, you can pin,
Absolutely.
like, the Yu Yamuras and the Yotsujis and the Showroom Lows. It's not going to be that big of a deal because of if all of the talent are top caliber, of course they're going to get pinned by the Zack Sabre Juniors and the Shingos of the world. Like, they're still on the up and coming. Like, I don't know, bro. That's my big thing with the G1.
And they need to be in a block with established guys. I think like last year, that 4-block format was so frustrating because essentially you put all the young guys in a block by themselves.
Yeah.
What do we gain from that? Like, what do we gain?
And Gabe Kidd ended up being the MVP of it. Like
Gabe Kidd and the guy who doesn't work here.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is, it's crazy. Gabe Kidd and Kaito Kiyomiya ended up being the biggest story coming out of the G1, and one of them doesn't work here.
Yep. And look at them two now.
Look at them
now.
Literally look at them now. So do with that information as you will. I will say though, based off of what I saw last night and what I've been hearing, I am cautiously excited for the G1. I do think that I think that they've recognized a lot of errors, and also I'm excited to see who pulls up. You know who I think is really interesting? I think should show up if they don't have anything for him on the AEW round. I think Konosuke Takeshita should do the G1.
Bro, I would absolutely love to see it. I don't know if wrestling politics will allow for it because of him being the poster boy of DDT for so long, but hey, man.
And the reason why I say this is because if you watch the All Together main event, that 6-man tag, Takeshita in that match, they built him like Thanos.
Yeah.
Like they built him like Thanos. Like it's very clear, like they set up that compared to his peers, he's just like on a whole different level of his peers from his age level. Shota, Kaito, whatever. Like it's very clear, like that's how they see him. And even he was saying of just like everybody wants to be at the top right now. And a lot of us haven't faced each other. And I think that he should. Now, do I trust New Japan politics? No, but I think that I see Takeshita. He's my pick to win the Continental Classic this year. I think he could, much like Eddie Kingston last year, doing the G1, doing the CC back-to-back of just taking on the world back-to-back, especially like barring any injuries. I think it's a very interesting scenario. I think it's a very interesting scenario, but I do think that somebody from AEW will be in. Just unsure
if not Takeshita, send my boy Fletcher. Let him go do the G1. He never got a chance to.
I think he would do fantastic.
I think Kyle Fletcher in a G1 would be absolutely incredible.
Kyle Fletcher.
Get some old like United Empire interactions. Like let him go face to face with people like Gabe Kidd, who hasn't interacted with him forever. Like there is so much there.
Kyle Fletcher is a great pick. And I think I would say the last one would be Daniel Garcia. Like he's talked about like one of his biggest regrets of his career so far is not being able to have, like, I think he said he got signed like right before he could have like a legit run in Japan. Like that's something that he's always, and especially, I think storyline wise, it would make a lot of sense just because, he's been kind of like stripping down, going back to the Black Trunks, teaming with Shibata. Would make a lot of sense for him to like, he's saying like he's fully going back to basics and, and like, and could, I think, really set him up for an even more powerful CC run because I think he should be back in the Continental Classic this year. So
yeah, absolutely.
So who knows? But I think like for New Japan, their homework, nail the G1 because honestly, G1 sets the foundation for Wrestle Kingdom. And so if that isn't right, nothing else is right. And then for AEW, they need to nail the Owen Hart tournament and they need to nail Blood and Guts. And then I think also figure the fuck out what they're going to do between that 2 week build for All In and All In and All Out. But I think that this year, at least it's 2 weeks. Like, I think that that's
Yeah.
already, at least it's 2 weeks. And I think with the Owen Hart tournament guaranteeing world title matches at All In, I think it opens up the card for some of these secondary belts to really step up. Like, I think
Yeah.
I've said
You
this.
could have the Continental title main event All Out.
Also, I will say, if you want a pay-per-view women's main event, I think All Out makes a ton of sense. I think that that's the quickest way to get there with as little red tape as possible. Shit, listen, I know that people won't like this. Like, I know that people won't like this because they will probably want to see her wrestle, but especially with this timeline on Jamie Hayter being what it is, imagine if she like reappears at All Out, just suddenly they run a match with her and Mercedes main event of All Out. Like, that she appears at All In, says she's back.
Yeah.
Challenges the winner of, whatever match that Mercedes has, and then just like, nah, like, I want to wrestle next week, like 2 weeks from now, main event of All Out. Makes perfect sense. Like, if her timeline is already extended and she's clear, like right in time, I would say hold it for All Out. Still give the fans like, the pop of her appearance, of course, Wembley, but who knows? So I think like theoretically that makes the most sense for a women's main event, because you got to think after that we have Wrestle Dream, Swerve and or Danielson will main event.
It could be Swerve and Danielson. Like,
exactly. That's why I said and or, like, you were there in Tacoma. Wrestle Dream is like already written off. What's after that? Full Gear.
I don't even know.
We have World's End, so that's basically the pay-per-view. Oh, I would even say, like, fuck that. Like, right after All Out, Grand Slam. So I think that should be like essentially a pay-per-view at that point of just So that's where we are. That's what I think. So that's Forbidden Door. I think we covered just about everything.
I think so.
Any other last thoughts on Forbidden Door?
I just hope that CMLL do get a proper showing on this card as well, because I understand that and I know that Stephanie Vakir is like representing them. That's like really important as well. But like I understand that like New Japan were the main partner, but like AEW are like overrunning this card right now. I want some more lucha representation on this card because they've been so present on the TVs. They have they have carried a lot of this build to the pay-per-view.
I'm glad you said that, because I think that we should expect something with the BCC on this card. Here's the thing. Something tells me like maybe Bryan Danielson, I need a singles match, but I'm scared that he might try to do a multi-man match, which I think would still be great. Great. But yeah, BCC is definitely going to be involved in this, as they should. Like, I think they've single-handedly carried, I would say, like the formation of this partnership. Them and Rocky Romero have carried this entire partnership with CMLL since the beginning of this year. Like I've said this earlier this year. It's very clear that the BCC, their jobs in the AEW product this year is being guardians of the Forbidden Door. They are very hands-on with like these partnerships with New Japan and CMLL, between Mox, Claudio, Brian, like, now Yuta being back. They're the linchpins in this relationship. Like they make it work. So I do think, and also Claudio, good God, Claudio Castagnoli, he's been fucking incredible this year. Like, Claudio has been on a whole different level, to the point where I don't know what we could do. Like, if he doesn't want, if Dragon can't face Shingo, I need Claudio Shingo. Actually, I just need Claudio Shingo, period.
Sure.
Shingo's been incredible.
Like, maybe Claudio should go to the G1.
Yes. Well, yes. Correct. Yes. Yes. And honestly, even with 20 spots, New Japan really doesn't need them all. They don't have enough people like to need them all, unless you're just throwing like Toru Yano and shit in there. And honestly, I think it's time for a couple of the older guys to step back. Like, I don't think Tana should do the G1 this year.
No, I don't think Tana should do the G1.
So. I don't think Tana should do the G1 this year. And yeah, I don't. I felt something in me like literally like deflate when I said that out loud. Like, I don't think Tana should do the G1 this year. I don't think Toriano should be do the G1 this year. And honestly, how do I say this? I would be okay if Ishii decides not to do the G1 this year.
Yeah.
The reason why I say this is not because I don't think Ishii is incredible. Actually, his singles match hitting percentage for 2024 is like crazy. Like his singles this year have been incredible, but he's 48 and the wear and tear on his body is quite starting to get noticeable, and he fights through it. But a long G1, that's a lot on anybody, especially with the blocks now going back to that. Like that's what, 5 matches? That's 5 minimum matches. Wait, no, that's about 8 minimum. Oh my gosh, yeah. That's a ton. Like, no. If he does do it, don't get me wrong. I think that a lot of the guys will benefit from being in the ring with him, just because Ishii is, for the sake of the G1, he is the best bout machine. The most consistent G1 performer, I would say. But I don't see what he gains from it.
Nah.
So that's just my opinion. But like I said, everybody doesn't need to be in there. And also even like tag teams and stuff, like, do we need Shane and Mikey? Like, yeah, like I do think that Goto needs to be in there.
Bro, his body broke down so badly in the last one. I don't know if he'll survive another G1.
Yeah. Same thing. And honestly, I know that it's not going to happen. Naito, I don't want him in there either.
I really need to see Great Khan in there. Like,
Naito, literally, like last year, Naito was on decline last year, obviously, but he significantly declined. Harder after the G1. Like, I think that G1 took at least another year off his career. And
he ain't got many of them left. Like,
exactly, it was very noticeable. And like even the Osprey match, like, guys, he was half concussed.
Yeah.
Naito, like, his eyes are glassy. Like, he just, don't get me wrong. Like, that's my fucking goat, bro. Like, but at the same time, like, come on. Like, we gotta be honest. And I think also when you clear out the field that way, it gets people excited to know that no matter what, we're going to see somebody new in this. Like, we're going to see somebody new. So that's just my thoughts on G1. And also, I think like New Japan, people also, this is my last part on this tangent. A lot of people talk about like the AEW New Japan partnership, how it's unbalanced, etc. Blah blah blah. Guess what? New Japan's partnership with just about everybody else has been unbalanced, and I think that they could afford to give a few spots this year, and I think it should go to All Japan. And the reason why I say this is that the All Together and Sapporo card, people weren't excited about it. They weren't. Kento Miyahara gets added to the main event, and suddenly everybody cares.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel personally. But yeah, my last thoughts on Forbidden Door is, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to get there. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be really fun. I think it should be a 2-night event going for it. But I also think that, how do I say this? AEW could really do a lot more as far as fan experience.
Yeah.
I think especially now, like, they don't really do the fan fest anymore, etc. And I understand why to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, that is what people fell in love with them because I think the Bucks were able to become as popular as they were, without a deal, is because of the relationships that they forged with their fans, of utilizing merch, utilizing social media, like BTE, all those things. Look at the reaction they got in that Champs when they were selling the shoes of just, I think, it's time to get back into, like, really catering to the hardcore fans. It feels like kind of those little touches that AEW used to do, I think that they're not really doing anymore. And I think for something like Forbidden Door, and like you've been there last year, of just people really do fly in from all over the world for this. It's a big thing that means a lot to a lot of people. And so not having any like fan experience, no collision, like It's kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is kind of crazy. Of just this
It's
seems like
wild.
something, New Japan. Like, think about all these Stardom girls who a lot of people have never gotten to see live. Of just, and I'm sure things will come out in the in the next weeks or so. But I think that fan experience is definitely something that they're leaving up. They're leaving on the table right now, and I think that that's something that they can do. Even as a content creator, AEW, you can get a lot more access to a lot of the talent than I think that you could in like particularly other places. And just do it. I think there's a lot more flexibility there, and they're just not utilizing it to its full potential. So
yeah,
that's really all I have to say about Forbidden Door, other than I'm excited and keep Chris Jericho out of here.
please God, dear, I will do anything. I will do anything to keep him off this card.
anything.
Anything.
Whatever happens. Yeah.
Like, I would want to reiterate anything. Like,
it's gotten to that point, guys, of just I can't explain this. I can't explain this. I can't justify this. Like, it got to the bad point. I've never rooted on AEW's downfall a day in my life, but I said on the after show on Wednesday, I said, I hope they get 400K in the ratings. I hope they get 400K. I said that's the only way they're going to learn. And then the fucking ratings went up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I realized.
What do we know, bro? What do we know?
Y'all are not real haters. Y'all are not real haters. Y'all are Twitter haters. You're not real haters. I've realized that you people are not loyal. I get on the internet and I talk about all of the things that I hate because I'm a real hater. When I say that I can't stand the Learning Tree segments, I mean that. But for some of you, I think that because some of you are going harder. You're literally going harder. Because when I pay the $5, I do. I pay the $5 to WrestleNomics every month because I'm impatient, and so I need to see things sometimes. And I couldn't believe my eyes when I see those demo breakdowns, and when I see those quarter hours, I get disgusted.
Mm-hmm.
Am I missing something? Like, my thing is like, am I missing something? Because this is shit. Like, this is terrible.
Yep.
But you
ain't gonna convince me, man. You ain't gonna convince me because
you do know what's interesting though in the last couple weeks though, from a demographic perspective, the 18 to 34 women's number has increased exponentially.
Oh,
like I think 2 weeks ago it was up 64%, 64%. But also
why? I mean, like, that's great, but where are they coming from?
They've been really peeking around swerve segments, which is
fairs.
But hey, but also the women, I think, what was it? Was it the 50 to 64 category is also increasing? I think that's where I think that's where the Jericho stuff is coming from, y'all. Like, seriously, I have been looking because I need to know why. Like, I've been also with especially we've been seeing like a lot of grandmas and stuff on television recently, like pulling up to AEW. Guys, like Jericho, like I think he's not even looking at us anymore. Like, he's like, I know my audience. And like Learning Tree is going crazy in the retirement homes. Like, it's going platinum. Like, they fucking love it. Like, guys, I've been doing, and I'm going to continue to study. Like I said, I literally almost can't. It's so funny because I was about to cancel that subscription. I was like, I really don't need it. I don't even really, but no, recently, yeah, I've been studying because the demographics are up.
What a note to leave this podcast on. The grandmas are loving the
Learning Tree, guys. Like,
grandkids. Educate your grandparents on what good wrestling is. Dear God.
Turn it off.
Anyway.
Turn it off. Just turn it off. Explain later. We don't have time to waste, guys. We can't keep going through this every Wednesday because people keep leaving. Like, they're leaving Dynamite on in the retirement homes. I want y'all to know that. It's ridiculous. Dynamite is just like, they just playing this shit, like, just full stop.
Yeah.
Yes.
My God.
But once again, thank you for coming. Hopefully, let's just manifest that hopefully we'll be there in a couple of weeks, hopefully. Where can people find you, and do you have anything that you wanted to share?
People can find me at my Twitter. It's here somewhere, I don't know. And you can also find me every Thursday at 6:30 EST on the Wrestle Purists channel reviewing Dynamite. And you can occasionally find me on Sundays, whether that be Girls on Grabs or the Wrestle Purists flagship show. More recently, though, you can also, it hasn't come out yet because we only filmed, not to date when we recorded this, but we only filmed this stuff yesterday. But I have done a couple of guest spots with the boys from Rest Things on and their new season of the Rest Things House. So look out for that when that comes out. And yeah, it's about it. Keep an eye on my socials because I got some fun things coming. I actually have plans for content. It's crazy.
I know, right? I feel like I've been so limited on time recently, and so like I only get to really record on like weekends now. And I've been trying to like, okay, like let me patch all this in, and like I have some articles coming out. We'll see when. Like I said, like my time is super limited, but it's Forbidden Door season, which means that the juices are titillating. Like I just lots to say, lots to do. But thank you, everybody. You can find me at Lyric Wrestling on Twitter and Instagram, and subscribe on my YouTube, just my first and last name. And of course, on Wednesday nights after Dynamite, myself and Danny, we do the Dynamite book post show on the Body Slam YouTube. So keep an eye out on all those things. And if you want to contribute to my Forbidden Door Fund, guess what? My Cash App's at the link in my bio. Just throwing that out there. But thank you once again for listening. I hope to be able to do this show more regularly this summer, but we shall see. And I will see you next time on Maps and Graps. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.
Peace.